SP Convo. SP Convo. Let's do it. Here we go, people. Going straight into it, man. Straight into it. See the top, man. Going straight into it. Straight into it. Here we go. Fair use. Everything about today is just about the culture of the country. I'm sharing everything, putting everything out there, my opinion on everything, from past to present. I'm going to start with this right now. Fair use, fair use.
Just want to give you an update on what's happening in that Collin County courtroom. Again, no cameras are allowed in there, so we are just kind of relaying to you the information that's happening inside of that courtroom. Over the weekend, the state rested after calling more than 20 witnesses to the stand. Now, as we have been telling you since all of this started, Carmelo Anthony, who is now 19, is accused of murdering Austin Metcalf, who was 17 at the time, last year in April at that Frisco track meet. So here's what we know right now. Carmelo Anthony's attorneys are asserting that this was all self-defense, that Austin Metcalf was actually the aggressor in all of this. So we got a chance to hear from some of the students who were at that track meet last April, and they gave conflicting reports of what happened that day. You know, we do know that both sides agree that Carmelo Anthony went underneath their tent to try to get out of the rain. The question now becomes what happened after that, and the stories do differ. One thing I do want to point out here, the state called the medical examiner to the stand over the weekend, and the defense has tried in the past to say that maybe Austin Metcalf was stabbed himself, like basically because he lunged forward into Anthony, that was the reason why he ended up getting stabbed. But the medical examiner agreed with the prosecution and said over the weekend that's a dangerous assertion to leave with the jurors. We also know that Austin Metcalf's twin brother was not called to the stand by the state. It was something that could have happened. He could have been one of the witnesses that was called. The defense is calling their witnesses to the stand. We know that some of those witnesses are going to be teens who were there.
Cops that he allegedly said, oh no, I didn't allegedly did it. I didn't allegedly do it. I did do it. You could tell, man. Somebody with a 3.7 GPA, he's not a street person. The average street person gonna deny everything and anything. Hey, the average person, period, is gonna deny it. But when you're intelligent like him, when you're very articulate, academically inclined, 200 pounds, ready to attack this young man. You know, he had to use a weapon to defend himself because he's a small guy. Just the only thing that I thought about. I said, I wonder if Carmelo Anthony had parents growing up. I did my research. He had parents growing up. And I think both his parents is at the trial. Then I said to myself, do he have any relationship with his parents? Because why would a 19-year-old guy, at the time 18-year-old guy, carry a weapon on him everywhere he went, or just in general? Then I thought about it. Some teenagers, when they get 17, 18, 19, those are times that they're confused and they feel like they're grown men. Because at 18, you could be drafted into the army. That's considered grown, old enough to know better. But then you're still a child in the mind. I said, why he didn't tell his parents? Why he didn't let his parents know that he have issues at school? But then I said to myself, kids are kids. Now I'm gonna go back some. I'm gonna go back some. Go back to what she said right about here.
Courtroom. Over the weekend, the state rested after calling more than 20 witnesses to the stand. Now, as we have been telling you since all of this started, Carmelo Anthony, who is now 19, is accused of murdering Austin Metcalf, who was 17 at the time, last year in April at that Frisco track meet. So here's what we know right now. Carmelo Anthony's attorneys.
So, okay. He was 18 years of age when he committed that situation. And the victim is 17 years of age. Both of them teenagers. Both of them teenagers. But age don't matter. It's the presence, the body size, the body mass. That 17-year-old kid was 6 foot, strong guy. No human being deserves to die. No matter what race, what you believe in, how you was brought up, poor, rich, smart or dumb. No human being deserves to die, especially before their time. But Carmelo Anthony's attorney seems like they're working very hard to get the world to understand he's innocent. He's innocent because I was looking deep into the situation. When you have a track meet or you're at a track event, it's not illegal for you to be underneath other people's tents. They're teenagers. They go to and from. They may have a friend on the other side that represent a different school or a different track meet, and they go over there and say hi. Then I also investigated during times of inclement weather, they're allowed to run for safety to any tent, any close available shelter. So he ran over there because I heard that it was raining. Then I looked it up and said, yeah, it was inclement weather that time. So it was about to rain. He hid under the tent, and they didn't want him to be there. So right there, I thought about it. I said, They didn't mean him no good from the beginning. Because why would you tell somebody to remove themselves from the tent during a thunderstorm? You want him to get hit by lightning? You want him to get hit by lightning? So you want him to be in harm's way? So since he refused to get up and put himself in harm's way, they decided to force it on him. They decided to force it on him. Could you believe this? Could you believe what we turned out to be in today's times? How we living today? People want to see other people in harm's way. Nobody have no regard for other people's children. Adults acting like children themselves. Another generation want to see the younger generation in turmoil and peril. They want to help guide the young generation. Now, he did have 2 parents, so he's supposed to be well guided. He had a structure there. Now, I don't know the significant details of his upbringing. I don't know if both parents live in the house. But let's just say both parents live in the house. That's instant structure. A son should always be able to talk to their father. A son definitely should be able to talk to their mom. And more the better if you talk to both your parents. Now I was doing extra research and I was watching some program earlier. Somebody was inside the courtroom and they basically just said there's people that's on the juror that they're not even paying attention to the case. They disinterested. They said someone nodding off, going to sleep. Which brings me to this. The jury consists of who? Is it people of color? Are there only white tea people or white people there? Are there different immigrants who don't understand the American culture and the judicial system, how it's ran here? Who knows? But that makes a definitive factor in imprint in decision. No. That makes a definitive impact on how they look at Carmelo Anthony versus how they're looking at the late Austin. Do they see Carmelo as a monster? Do they see him as an intelligent academia student who blew his life away to take a weapon and harm somebody else, as opposed to using his brain and trying to find a different way to resolve this? Why no adults call 911? Why nobody's calling the authorities? I think they're gonna make sure this young boy go to jail for that reason right there. Nobody pick up the phone to call 911. We have this thing today. We want to take matters into our own hands. Nobody trusts the government. Nobody trusts law enforcement. Nobody trusts the adults. Nobody trusts the community. Everybody's just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And whatever happens, whatever tension, whatever chaos occur, that's what it is. Just like with the other case in South Carolina, Mr. Child, he got acquitted of harming, unaliving Cyrus. Nobody called 911. Nobody called 911. It seems like in either case. Although I think in the Carmelo case, 911 was called after the situation, but I don't think it was called during. You know, back in the days, parents and kids had a closer relationship. Society is more simpler. Kids went outside, played whatever sports, whatever regular games. Girls did double dutch, which is jump rope. Boys rode bikes, played hoops, basketball, stickball, kicked rocks down the block. Got chalk, wrote their names, whatever they did to entertain themselves. But America was a different country. There wasn't that many people in the country, coming from different countries and having different ways of looking at life. Because America is a simple country. It's simply a simple country. It's simple. Listen to your parents. Go to school. Have good grades. Ask your parents for things that you want since you providing good grades to them. Go to college. Get a job. Take care of yourself. That's America. Easy peasy. But now when you bring different people into the cloth of America with their ideology and where they was born, that way of living, they implement that into America. And that's what's messing up the judicial system of this day. The whole world have an anti-black mentality. Not to bring race into it, but I have to interject that. I have to put that word in there. I have to insert that word. Because nobody's looking at it from these two young guys going through their changes, young bulls of society, figuring it out. Because every generation had that. Every generation had that. Hey, you see it in comic books. You understand? Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Batman. Who's the nemesis to Batman? Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin. Those the nemesis to Batman. Catwoman. You know? Spider-Man's nemesis. Everybody have one. Everybody have a nemesis. Hey, siblings even become each other's competitor. So what I'm saying is, these are young men who still trying to figure it out, and they're not using their thinking brain. They're using their beastly brain. They're young kids. Both of them people made a mistake. Unfortunately, one is not here to learn from the mistake, and one is here learning from his mistake. And that's just what it is. Now I want to get another understanding of where we at with the Kamala Anthony case. Then I'm gonna switch it to somebody. I'm gonna switch it to another topic, still relevant to today's title. Let me hear what this. Now, this is somebody. This is the defense. What? The defense rest in the case. So we're gonna see. They rested in the case. I'm gonna hear a little synopsis.
Some major developments in the Carmelo Anthony murder trial. After calling 3 more witnesses this morning, the defense rested its case. The state has also rested, so that is all the evidence the jury is going to hear in this case. Both sides are inside having an informal charge conference in the courtroom, and tomorrow morning, the judge will read the charges to the jury. We found out today the jury will also be sequestered for the duration of deliberations. There's been a lot of question about whether the jury will be able to consider a manslaughter charge. We asked a local defense attorney about how that could happen.
At the end of the trial, either side, the prosecution or the defense, can request what's called a lesser included offense. And so if the defense is talking about it in jury selection, it's my belief that they're going to ask the judge to include that instruction at the end of the trial before it goes to the jury. And if they ask for it to be included, it's almost always granted. So the jury would be able to evaluate the murder charge, and then they would also be able to evaluate what manslaughter would be. And the only difference is the mental state. So in order to be guilty of murder, the jury has to believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the act was intentional or knowingly. And if they don't believe that, the next step down is...
Now you see? That's what I got finished saying. They're young. They're young. They was going through their changes. You know what I'm saying? Growing pains. What happened to growing pains? This country has gotten so far removed from its foundation of what America used to be. It's a free for all. Now they gotta determine if it was premeditated or not, if he meant to do it or not. I'm pretty sure they got all this evidence. I'm pretty sure they went through his meta files. They went to YouTube, a journal, spoke to different classmates. I'm pretty sure all that's already done. And speaking of that, a lot of people testified against Carmelo. These were the same young teens that said he didn't start it. Now they're recanting and saying he initiated it. And they black people at that. These are black students. But I'm learning something. Black from where? Don't get me wrong. You have a lot of natural born black people in America that may feel the same way about Carmelo Anthony. But it's more so other black people from outside the country. Because what child would want to see another person in custody going away for the rest of their life if they know it would just spur of the moment? That could happen to anybody. Those young kids could get, them young kids could be outside in society and somebody just bump up to them and next thing you know, boom. Next thing you know, boom. It's all over. Now, would they want their friends to testify against them and say that that was intentional? That they intentionally wanted to harm the potential perpetrator? No, sometimes things like that just occur. You know, it just occur like that. So when you quick to point the finger or recant your story and change it, you have to be paid off already. I'm gonna say you have to be paid off. You have to be paid off, or coached, or promised something if you put this young boy away. Because since when teenagers of the same peer group rarely want to see somebody from their same peer group demolished, removed. I don't see that. Let's get back to
if the act was reckless. And that reckless type of mental state is what can find a manslaughter conviction. And so I think we're going to see a manslaughter option on the jury charge at the end of the case.
Some major developments in the Carmelo Anthony murder.
So, he said at the end of the day, it may go from murder to manslaughter. Because they know. They know already. They're kids. Kids go through changes like that. Kids go through changes. And it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. Now the next thing I want to get into is there's 2-parent homes of the same sex, the same gender. Hold on. Of the same gender. When you have 2 of the same species in a household with kids, the traditional sense of family is man, woman, and child or children. Now you have somebody household that have man, men, and children. Woman, woman, and children. All right. So Carmelo Anthony's in this position right now. What is the future of this country going forward. When you have kids growing up in a two-gender home in an outside society, and the first thing they do is lash out or carry themselves as if how they were seen, how they was taught or not taught inside the household. Two gender homes breaks the structure, breaks the integrity of a child. Hear me out. You're growing up confused. At least when you're in a household with a mom and a father, when a mom's emotional, the father checks that. So you see the balance. When you're outside and you're getting in problems, you run back home to your mom. Your mom tell you what's the problem. She nurture you. She let you know everything will be okay. When you tell your father says, "What happened, boy?" Or "What happened, princess?" I'm going to address that. I'm going to show you how to address it just in case I'm not around. You think logic. You have a balance. You have the example of what mom would say, and you have the understanding what dad would say. Once you grow up in a father and mom home. When you are in a two-gender household, I could imagine it's nothing but chaos. Two ladies, both emotional, yelling to the top of their lungs. There's no logical thinking there. The first thing they want to do is argue, then come to fighting. A child is watching that. Same thing. Two men in the house. It goes from arguing to fighting. There's no balance there. Those children of then will be the misfits of tomorrow. Yeah, I said that. Anybody that's growing up in a two-gender household will be misfits. And don't give me that there's kids being raised in two-gender households right now and everything is smooth. I don't want to hear the exception to the rule. I want to do a case study and let's see. Yeah. Our president, Donald Trump, said there should be no people of a certain community in the army. At first I said, nah, let people live how they're supposed to live. Live and let live. Then I thought about it. I said, no. A spiteful person will want to see something happen to you, regardless if you're on the same team. And people from that community, they hold a lot of resentment. That's the first thing they run to is resentment. Despising somebody because you're not agreeing with them or you're going against what they feel is due. I don't need that. And I'm sure a lot of people don't need that neither. But this country let people feel they could do what they want to do and live how they want to live, only for certain groups. Because let's say this, let everybody do what they want to do. Let a person that want to go out there and commit unalivings every day commit unalivings because that's what he want to do or she want to do. Let a person who want to drink and drive, let them go outside and drink and drive every day because that's what they want to do. Let a person who want to molest, let them do what they want to do. Unless you Epstein, you got money, you could do it. So let the average poor person who have an Epstein mindset do the same thing. I think too much of freedoms lead to failure. On this side of the spectrum, you have freedom. On this side of the spectrum, you have failure. Too much freedom leads to failure because you get too beside yourself. You get too beside yourself with freedoms. The Democrats have made it comfortable for people to be lazy, to be lackadaisical, to be non-committed. Back in the days, Michael Jordan worked hard for those championship rings, right? Dribbled the ball up and down the court, screamed on his teammates. He's at home every day, practicing, non-sleep, practice. Man ended up winning 6 rings. 3 back-to-back, took a vacation for 1 to 2 years, and came back and won 3 more rings. Now he broke his back, put the team on his back, him and his man Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. But when it came to the end, Michael Jordan was the one doing it. What about the people that never touched the ball, that just happened to be on the team? They got the same ring Michael Jordan got. Everything Michael Jordan did, they achieved. The rings. That's the Democrats of today. The Democrats are the ones that allow everybody to have an easy way to go. That's the Democrats. So now you have a society where people just want to do whatever they want to do, and they're expecting a reward. They're expecting a reward. And that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So I'll say, if society is going to still be the way it is now, we're going to be finished. We're going to be finished. Hard work always been what it was. Hard work always been what it was. If you understand, one second. Alright, sorry about that. Hard work always brought back results. That's what I learned from Michael Jordan. That's what I was taught myself, being raised in a 2-parent household. Understanding the rights, the wrongs, the indifferences. Now, to all my black people in America, that's born in America, that know how this country is designed to keep you down and to give everybody else who look like you a better chance at pushing forward for a goal. You already know what that means. No time for fakeness. No time for shucking and jiving. No time for complaining. Just do what you gotta do. Time for black Americans to show that power. Show that power. Let the other black communities know why black Americans should be respected at all times. It's time to get that ticket punched. You don't have no choice. You don't have no friends. Nobody like black Americans because everybody is jealous of black Americans. Because black Americans have this mindset of simply the truth. They know what good living is versus non good living. They know what the best is versus what trash is. Because everything is in this country. Back then, in the supermarket, they had different levels of food. If you could afford it, it's yours. If you couldn't afford it, you still didn't go without eating. There was something there. Grade A, grade D. And then you had the low grade, no frills. It just was a white box with red and black lines across of it, and it showed you the weight of the contents: 8 ounce, 16 ounce, 32 ounce, etc. Now they changed that. Now they learned that food was non-nutritious. So now they changed that in the 90s, and they started letting people have name brand food. The point I'm making is you must continue to push forward, because you come from that struggle of knowing when your country changed, knowing that black Americans always going to have that mindset of feeling oppressed, because you're going to always be oppressed, because white people don't want you to be above them, but they let every other black person come to America to be above you, because the black Americans are the strong ones. They're the ones that understand the blueprint of America. No other black group will understand America like you black Americans. My grandmother always told me I need to respect black Americans, because without them, nobody will be allowed to come to America. My great grandmother died in America in 1969. Came to America from St. Croix. Even back then, them times was civil rights times. So everybody was standing behind the black Americans, at least in skin color. But they never knew who was for them and who wasn't for them. So when somebody could blend in like you, blend in alongside your group of people, and you can't decipher is they American born or not, that's dangerous. But when you go abroad, they know that you don't belong there. If I didn't tell nobody I had grandparents from St. Croix, you just would automatically assume I'm American. But I am American. I'm a Caribbean descendant. I have some of the West Indian ways inside of me, because my grandmother sat me down and informed me and cooked certain foods for me, but she didn't want me to learn it. She didn't want me to learn it. For whatever her reason was, she didn't want me to learn it. And I can't blame her, because I don't know what she had to do to survive in this country at that time. So, my grandmother shared things with me. And the thing that she shared with me was for me to always be good. Always do good. Always make sure I have my things in order. Always have manners. Always communicate very well. My mom told me, speak how you're supposed to speak, speak clearly, and just remember, you're on stage. and the world is your audience, and everybody's listening. That stuck with me. Jobs are being taken away by migrants. You can't blame the migrants. They want to come to the land of the free. They want a good opportunity too. We all human. That's you with open arms telling, come on, man, get some of this money, get some of this American safety, this protection, this law, let this Constitution provide for you. But then you start to realize you have open arms and love, but they don't have that for you. And it dawned on you, why are these people like this with me? I'm not like that with them. Excuse me. It's because you already come from a sound place, a developed country. And most of these people couldn't fathom waking up to nothing but peace and harmony. Where they come from, it's always a struggle mentally. It's always a con they gotta put on. Alright, you back on? Alright, you back on? Alright, yeah, I just see my reconnections back on. Right. So what I was saying, once you understand what life is, then you understand what it's about. Education at one time was the gold ticket for you having a good life. Education is always good, but it don't necessarily mean you're going to have a good life. Now it's about connections. Well, it's always been about connections. But the connection I'm talking about now is you have to have a certain language. A certain language must be spoken. At least they're trying to impose that. Make you believe that you must speak multiple languages in order for you to survive. I don't believe it, because America is an English spoken country. You can speak whatever national language you have, whatever your nation is. You can speak that language inside your house. When you're outside in public, you're supposed to be speaking English. When you're outside conducting business, it should be spoken English. To conform to somebody else's language in your own country that you're born in, it's backwards. The United States of America government is just about producing money. Hands down. They don't care who get hurt in the process as long as they win. The sad thing is, everybody will eventually be a victim. Even those that feel like they're in the driver's seat right now, they would eventually be a victim. Understand the game. Understand what it is. This guy, Mr. Chow, took the charge for his son. A 14-year-old ran at least 60, 80 yards out. Ain't no 60-plus-year-old man could chase no 14-year-old running top speed like that. It's impossible. But his 27-year-old son could chase after the 14-year-old. He's still young himself. Yeah. Mr. Chow took the charge for his son. and he got to quit it because the son did it, not Mr. Child. So the law was right. Now they put his son on trial, they're going to get the verdict. Cyrus came from a single parent home, I believe. If he came from a 2-parent home, forgive me. I was doing a lot of research. But I believe he come from a single parent home. When you come from a single parent home, it ain't much a mom could do, man. It ain't much she could do to raise a man child. Once that boy get off that porch, he gonna be into countless of things. Most of them non-good services. It's unfortunate he lost his life. I see this country become more divided than ever before. It always been what happens in California don't happen in New York. It always been what happened in Philadelphia don't happen in New Orleans. But this country has been more divided between white and black because so many other ethnic groups have wedged in between white and black. And still, with that being said, you still have poor whites and poor blacks living amongst each other with the same ideology, going through the same and still end up bickering as if this is the early 1900s. As if these two groups haven't been living amongst each other for the past 400 years. Now you tell me, is that not distant cousins? You tell me there's no love between white and black. You tell me that. There's love there. They've been through too much with each other. They've been through too much. We gotta fix this country back up, man. And that means people have to be removed because they're messing up the fabric, then so be it. Because like I said, my grandmother told me I had to respect black Americans. Because this is their country, and if it wasn't for them, nobody would be allowed to come here. And when she said nobody, she said people that look like her and me, that come from poorer countries. And I looked my grandmother in the face and I said, "You're right, Grandma." So I knew how to carry myself, how to watch what I say. I knew to take education seriously, respect my elders, and make sure I try to be good and do the best thing I could do for myself, be the best person I could be for myself, be the best leader I could be for my children, give my children the best advice, the best guidance, all the love, affection, physical, mentally, emotionally. Not bad for a woman that came from the islands. America, this land was made for you and me. Let's start acting like it. Nobody who want to contribute, send them back home. People that want to work, keep them here. People that want to assimilate to the country, keep them here. People that don't want to fall in line, send them back. Let's get the checks and balance back. And let's make sure this boy get the best trial he could possibly get. And let's stop the bickering, the back and forth. Let's have a better understanding of how America is looking to the rest of the world. Because America is looking real weak. And as a side note, a house is stronger with a man leading it, not a woman. A man thinks logical, a woman thinks emotional. Easily to be triggered and set off course. When there's a lot of pressure, very easy for a woman to get tripped up. You got men that's weak too. They can't handle nothing neither. Always looking for a bottle to take their pain out or some type of D-rugs to hold them down. Let's get this country back, man. Black people, do better. America, do better. Humans, do better. Let's just do better, man. This is how we live. In the United Fractured States of America. I'm out.